started. Call to order the Woodman Hills Metropolitan District notice regular meeting for July 25th, and it is 17:31. Roll call.
Kelsey's present.
Casey Popovich present.
And Sherry Ringen present. Troy is probably doing something fun. Were there any director's disclosures?
None.
Next item on the agenda, approval or disapproval of the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so like I said, Troy's out having fun. I'm Sherry Ring and I am the vice president of the board. I want to welcome you all for coming. And hopefully it won't be a long meeting. Okay, do we have any public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda? Yes, sir.
So, I have a proposal for a park. I spoke to Troy about this and said, come to the meeting and make your pitch.
Of course he did.
Where's that?
Go
Sign
ahead,
some
come
papers
on.
if you want.
Absolutely.
And I got copies for 5, so. And the important one's the top one. Leave those up there. So this property is at the corner of Eastonville and Stapleton, sort of the southwest cornerish. It's vacant. In 2009, when it was originally platted, proposed school site, and it has been there for a long time. Oddly enough, El Paso County tells me that you guys maintain that property. I think I talked to Marcus and he said, we do not.
Yeah, we don't.
But it's in there that you maintain it because that's what they told me when I wrote this up. I hadn't talked to Marcus at the time. There's also a detention pond on the site, 25-foot trail easement. Includes a stub out to Port Marnock Court and Bendenero Drive from the roads. And was originally dedicated to be a school. I say dedicated, I'm not sure if that's the right legal term. That's what it says on the plat. And it's never been obviously developed. I contacted the school district, and in that supplemental package that I gave you, it's quite a bit thicker. Basically what they told me was, well, we're still thinking of it as a school, but we might just sell it. Well, I should preface by saying, I'm not a resident of Woodman Hills. I'm just an interested community person, okay? But there are 24 houses, as you can see by that picture there, that back up, their backyards back up to that site, who in their opinion, their best belief, if they looked at their plat, expect a school to go in there. Not for the district to simply sell it and commercially market it, which is on the very last page of that supplemental package in an email that I gave you. You'd have to dig through it to find it at your leisure. So my position is, I mean, I would love to see a park there, that's my personal opinion, but my real position is, as a metro district with all 24 of your homeowners backing up to that property, I think you should have an interest, if anything except a school goes in there. They could sell it and put anything in there. Gas station, big lights, RV parking, who knows? And if I were those neighbors, they probably don't know this, and I haven't reached out to anybody because I'm not in the business of stirring up trouble, but if I were those neighbors, I would be very concerned if it was going to be sold and something other than a school went in there. Of course, my vote would be a park, but I'm not even a resident of your district. And that's basically my pitch.
I can actually have a little bit of information about this property, interestingly enough, because I spoke with El Paso County about it in the last couple months. So this site is currently owned by El Paso County. It is designated as a future school site. I don't believe there's a timeline for actually building a school at this point. The properties to the west are part of Woodman Hills. On the plat, there was supposed to be a detention pond installed by the original developer of Woodman Hills. And then in the long run, the theory was it was going to be then maintained by Woodman Hills. However, the contractual agreements for that were actually never signed. This was back in, I think, 2005, 2009, somewhere in that ballpark. At this time, to the best of my knowledge, there is no actual detention pond, and it's not being maintained by this district. As far as I'm aware as well, there's no contractual obligation for the district to maintain the non-existent pond, but that was the original theory. And I don't believe there's been any discussions in terms of purchasing this from El Paso County, but they are the current owners.
Thank you for that. I was going on what the plat said about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
detention pond.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
and-
it's
El
interesting.
Paso County actually reached out about this, just asking what the status of the detention pond was, because they saw the same thing on the plat.
Well,
And we asked for, we weren't maintaining it, we asked for the documentation for it, and it hadn't been executed, so we're tying that one off.
I suspect I know why they reached out to you.
We did walk that area too. There's an indention, it looks like they had an intent to build an detention pond, but there's no drainage or anything. There's no structurally anything to remove water from that area, so it'd be a stretch to call it a detention pond.
You know, just in me peering into my crystal ball, imagine what Stapleton is gonna look like in 20 years. It is destined to be a regional arterial highway with 4 lanes in the 2045 regional transportation plan. That's what Woodland was originally built to look like before they started widening it. And it will connect with I-25. It will be the northernmost east-west connector from 24 to 25 in the county. There will be traffic on that road. And would you put a school there? And the site's not that large. Maybe an elementary school site, possibly, no way they could put a high school there, it's just not that big. So, they won't say this, but I don't see District 49 making a rational decision to put a school there, in my opinion, just me as an individual. So I just thought you guys should kind of, I wanted to bring it to your attention, encourage you to work your will. You guys, it's in your district, so.
Parks and Rec, I appreciate, you have my number.
Yeah.
So when you learn things, we can learn, we'll kind of communicate both ways and we can go from there. We are getting a better relationship. We've met with the school district and we have another meeting with them probably in the fall set up, so we can find out maybe what their intent is.
They're not gonna say no until they say no, in terms
Yeah.
of building a school. They're gonna
Yeah.
keep it on their potential list.
Yeah.
And if they decide to sell it, they'll decide to sell it and they'll move forward. So if Woodland Hills Metro District has an interest, unless you tell them you've got an interest and wanna be involved, they have no reason to reach out to you, I wouldn't think. So, it's kinda why I'm bringing it to your attention, you might wanna be forward leaning in terms of at least making whatever your thoughts are known to them, so that, work it out early if you can. That's my thought.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've driven by there and wondered what they were gonna do with it.
Where all the dirt sitting on it.
That is definitely just a lot.
The Eastonville Regional Trail goes through there, there's an easement for that, and so again, park.
Definitely something to think about, because we like parks.
Oh, I hate them.
Didn't we say we were looking for a new park and rec director?
I think that's
Anyone else? Okay, next item on the agenda, approval of the June financials.
I gave you guys a copy. I think that's the one thing that did print out that he gave you. I think that's what it was that I had sitting up there.
Yeah, so just for simplicity, when I reviewed this, I took a bunch of them and put them under this as the consent agenda. Feel free to pull any amount of consent agenda or discuss them as much as you'd like individually, and then they can all be approved in one fell motion.
Yeah, I don't think we got one, but it's.
I think Carter had requested this one originally be put in consent because he wouldn't be here to present it.
So we could just make one motion to approve it all, or we need to go over?
Actually, you can discuss as much or as little as you would like. All these documents were sent to the board within the last week. If you have any questions, we can pull them out and have further discussions, or we can discuss them as they are now. I'll make just 2 quick comments when you're done reviewing the June agenda on the minutes revisions.
Stacy, did you see anything on the financials that stuck out at you?
No, I did not.
And then the revised minutes, you had something?
Yeah, so you'll notice there's 2 sets of minutes from 2020 on the consent agenda. The reason we are making a very small revision on both of these is that when the inclusion hearing was held for International Development Company and for Bar Holdings, it was incorrectly listed on the June agenda, or excuse me, the June minutes, when it should have been on the July minutes. And we have a video record to confirm that, and 4 of the directors were a part of that meeting at that time. So we went ahead and just made that correction since we are now moving forward with the inclusion for International Development Company. Yeah, other than that, we just have last month's minutes and ratification of the collection resolution that was approved last year. Carter had a chance to review it, make a couple adjustments, so we're just ratifying what the board previously approved.
So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Agenda item 8 is the consider for approval resolution in order for inclusion for the International Development Company.
So what this is the board already approved the petition for inclusion. We simply put it in the form of a resolution, which will be filed with the court. So we're simply approving that resolution so we can move forward with the filings to finalize the inclusion.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the resolution in order for inclusion for International Development Company.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9 is the attorney's report.
Give me 1 sec here. It appears to be a little slow bringing it up in front of me here. Oh, perfect. We'll just wait until the scrolling has gotten to it here.
I was getting to your report. Is that what you were wanting?
Yeah, that's
to have your
perfect.
report?
That's perfect.
Right here?
Yep, that works. So just touching base on a few of these real quickly here. The collection resolution's been finalized. You'll see that drop off the list. The amended and restated IGA with Falcon Highlands, that is on hold until we get more information from their district on what they want that agreement to look like. Carter informed us last month that they're wanting some changes and maybe to expand the scope of that IGA. I haven't received any further direction from their council on that. Amended and restated service plan, we're currently plugging in the finances into that service plan. It's undergoing its first review right now. Hoping to have that submitted here in the next week or so. Can you go ahead and go to the next page? Term limits, we're still waiting to hear back from El Paso County Court on the original 1995 filings to see if we can figure out if term limits were waived. The International Development Company inclusion, this is pretty much good to go. With the approval of the resolution today, we have all the documents we need to file with the court and finalize that inclusion. Total process should be completed in about a week. And one of the issues is Carter's currently working with Streamline on building the new district website. We've got the current website in compliance for the remainder of this quarter, so there's nothing else that really needs to be done on that end. Once the new site goes live, Carter and Dan have been working on that, and we'll just transition everything over. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
And the water shut off?
Yeah, so in regards to the water shut off, Carter had a question regarding a resident blocking the water shutoff access. We're currently reviewing the district's easements onto that lot. Just to confirm, generally when a district's built out, the district always has an easement to its own access points. We do want to confirm that before we're discussing towing or other enforcement mechanisms to gain access to that water shutoff.
Item 10 is the Park and Rec report.
Did you guys have any questions on the report that I sent in? One of the highlights, I'm gonna let Matrix, I'll introduce Matrix, they're gonna talk tonight a little bit about our master plan, so I'm gonna kind of give my time to them. The one thing I did wanna tell the board, and then so we have it out on video too, is the week of August 12th, we're closing RCE for annual maintenance. And we'll be doing the gym floor, aerobics room floor, all the replacing the carpet in RCE and paint in RCE, and then also draining, cleaning the pool, the annual pool maintenance, and then refilling and getting it back up. So a lot of stuff in a very small amount of time, but that's why we're closing it. During that time, CCW will remain open, and then we will actually have the outdoor pool open during that time, so residents are still have access to water during that time.
And you've addressed the broken sprinkler heads that are flooding yards.
Trying to.
Is that all the line they're laying?
It is. It's a constant. Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been brutal because we think they're done with an area, and then they come back in and do something else in the same area. And Integrity's supposed to fix it when it happens, but a lot of times they won't see it till they come on. And then we fix it and then send them the bill. So that's kind of how, so sometimes if it's a main line that breaks and water's going everywhere, then they can fix that. But if it's a head or another offshoot line, they won't know until that actually goes off in the morning. And then that's when we find out. And they've got to be getting close to getting done with Meridian Ranch. So hopefully we're done, but then I anticipate them coming in this direction, a bunch of other directions. So Balkan will probably be the next one where we'll hit troubles over there. But right now I think we got it licked, but we had it all green, nice, and now we have the brown again because of being down in certain parts.
And we're not having problems getting the bills paid when we send them.
For Integrity,
Mm-hmm.
so far not, but we'll see if they run out of money on it and stop paying us.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. I'll introduce Matrix. Matrix is the group that's doing our master plan, so I wanted to get that in front of you guys and let them tell you a little bit more about them and what they're gonna be doing. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
I'll switch it over.
We Marcus said we have about 90 minutes. We'll try and get a little bit under that if possible.
I told you we needed a new park and rec director.
He can certainly talk if we want to. No, my name is Jason Allwine with the Matrix Design Group. We have some other team members here. I'm the Director of Landscape Architecture for the company. Thank you for having us tonight. We do appreciate it. We were hired, as Marcus mentioned, to be a partner in this project, really to help the district analyze existing conditions, past conditions, and move forward with some park master plan. That includes data gathering, mapping, asset management framework, which is a lot of data and crunching that data, a very robust stakeholder community engagement program, as well as the fun stuff. I think it's the fun stuff being a landscape architect is the parks master planning, working with the community, staff, stakeholders, creating a vision for the next 5, 10, 15 years of what the park and recreation program could be. Next, please. Just real brief, this is our team we put in place. The stars are here tonight. I guess that's, apropos. Our principal in charge, Chris Martin, who's also our GIS analyst and task lead. We have Amy Papierski, who's the deputy project manager. She's really behind the scenes, running the day-to-day, making sure we're staying on track, budget, scheduling, communications, so forth. And Cameron Bowski is here. He's our stakeholder and citizen engagement lead. Each one of them will have a brief presentation to describe and illustrate what we've done to date. We've been working on this for a couple months, where we're currently in the process, and really what the next steps are gonna be. Some of the pictures and other team members of the task lead that you may see in future meetings, either here, or certainly public engagement process, and the stakeholder group meetings with staff as we work through the next steps, analyze the data, use that data to make informed decisions with master planning, asset framework, et cetera. So we'll try and be brief. We know time is precious tonight, so I'll introduce Chris to take us through what we've done today from a methods. Thank you, and again, thank you so much for having us.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, Marcus. Good evening, or late afternoon, I guess. You know, as Jason said, principal in charge here, but really my role is to be the data nerd. That's what I do, that's what I love, that's what I've been doing for a couple decades now. But, you know, we're excited because we're a couple months into this, but we're really about to hit the ground running, frankly, starting Monday. You'll start seeing our teams running around the buildings, running around in the parks, and gathering information. So, to date, we have, fancy word there, but digitized all the data. So we went through your landscape maintenance plans, all your own parcels, and more or less, from a desktop standpoint, went through and looked what are some types of assets in our parks that we want to get condition information on and other data points on. So that's kind of the screenshots you're seeing here. So we've got everything from fences to furniture like trash cans, gates, you know, any hardscapes, so sidewalks, parking lots, that sort of thing. Landscaping, both irrigated, non-irrigated, your natural areas. Playgrounds, we'll be going through to each of the equipment structures and doing an assessment on those. Recreational areas, play fields, that sort of thing. What we're calling trails, some of those might be social trails, but we're gonna take a look at them for now and see you know, what we do with those. And there's some miscellaneous things, interpretive signs, other stuff that would kind of go into a good asset management plan. So it's about 160 acres of managed areas that we'll be running around and collecting data to. That link there is live. That will take you to a online web viewer where you can click on all this stuff and see, right now, just placeholders for attribute information, but we'll be starting to be populating that here in the coming days. Next slide, please. So when we get in there, this is again kind of a screenshot of just one of the assets. You click on it, you can see here it's got placeholders for information to be filled out, but basically we'll be going through, doing a relatively simple condition assessment, good fair port. You know, anything else we can gather, install date, manufacturer, what it's made out of, what its dimensions are, any safety concerns that we may have immediately off the bat, and those are the type of things that we'll bring forward now as opposed to waiting to the end of the report. And just kind of general status of that particular asset, if it's under construction, it's completed, and so on and so forth. Next slide. So how do we do this? You'll see us, if you see people out in the parks with tablets with their heads down going like this, so that's our team. So they'll have tablets in their hands, they'll basically be clicking on these points, and then it will come up, it will have drop-down boxes, and they take pictures of the assets and that sort of thing, and fill out all the information that they need to have in order to do the next step, which is the asset management part, and then eventually getting into recommendations and maybe future improvements. So like I said, we'll be starting here on Monday, not only in the parks, but also in the facilities here. Next slide. So to do the facilities, it's gonna be a little more detailed. So we use a software program called Fulcrum, but it basically allows you to go through room by room. So you can go into this room, you can look at the lights, you can look at the walls, look at the floor, get all the information associated with that, and then go to the next room, do the same thing. We'll do an exterior review, we'll look at foundation, we'll look at the roof and all that sort of stuff, and pull all that information again into this database using tablets, and that will feed our overall recommendations going forward. Next slide. So why are we doing all this? The main thing is to develop an asset management framework. And this asset management framework, the intent is to, one, inventory, know what you have, what condition it's in, but two, to really develop a way of maintaining those assets going forward. What is the, you know, life cycle cadence that's carpeting needs to be replaced, or the paint needs to be redone, or a jungle gym needs to be replaced. And we'll basically put costs behind that, kind of put out a schedule and say this needs to happen every 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, and really come up with that approach. Our approach is risk-based, so we'll be looking at basically, what is the probability of something failing, for lack of a better word, versus what are the consequences of that failure happening? So, you know, if something were to go wrong with the pool, what would be the consequence of that? Well, the pool would be down and that'd probably be a big deal. So we need to make sure that everything's up to snuff with that. Some other things we'll be doing after we're done with all our asset assessment, we'll prepare a report, summary of findings, basically a metric. You know, you have 5 miles of sidewalks that are in great condition, you have, you know, 900 feet that is in poor condition, that sort of thing. And then based on that, we'll come up with remaining service lives for all the assets, and then develop kind of service level goals. Like I was saying, you know, we want this particular asset to last 5 years, and in order to do that, we have to apply X amount of maintenance to make that happen. Next slide. Then I'll turn it over to Cam here for probably the most important piece is really listening to what the community is looking for with potential improvements here to the Parks and Rec assets and program potentially.
Thanks for having us here this evening, I really appreciate it. So I specialize in community engagement and strategic communications, but I also happen to be a licensed engineer, so this is kind of a sweet spot because I get to do facility master planning around the country. We good? Good. Okay. And so you've had a lot of community engagement going back all the way from sending out thousands of physical mail-in surveys back in 2009, followed by online surveys in 10 and then 16 and 18. And where we want to start with this process, we want to continue that trend. And this is, you'll see only 4 slides from me, so this will go very, very quickly. Start with drawing the crowd. We don't need to change the slide yet, please. Go back one. Thank you so much. And where it starts is just a simple advertising, right? We just need to get the word out. And the goal is, you'll see one example here, ID Places. It doesn't have to look like this, but we're going to develop a website that we can either host ourselves or you all can host. And the idea is that we just need to get the word out so we can kind of draw people to us so we can have a conversation. And the way we intend to do that, the way we hope to do that, partnering with your team, is ideally to use some of the existing events that you have. Your programming is phenomenal. You've got like Monday morning aquatics on multiple days of the week. You've got Monday night basketball, Wednesday night co-ed volleyball, and the list goes on, as well as seasonal events like trunk or treat. So we want to get out there, use QR codes, use pamphlets, use word of mouth to bring people to us. Next slide, please. Once we spread the word a little bit, we want to tap into that local knowledge. So you all have, you know, I'm telling you something you already know. You have over 3,500 registered members. In 2023, you had something like 6,500 unique logins to all of your different facilities, which is just a small snapshot of all the things that are happening. So we really want to tap in to all of that activity. It looks like in 2024, those 6,500 check-ins that you saw last year, you're probably actually going to surpass that. So we're seeing some of that growth trend. And of all of those people, those members, like we've heard a little bit today, I guarantee they're going to have some opinions, and we want to hear those opinions to help kind of flavor over all of this technical stuff that we just had the privilege of hearing. And what that's going to look like is it's going to be 3 specific engagements on the direct community side. It starts with the loosely facilitated event, which is just tell me everything. I want to hear everything you have to say. The next one is more midstream through this project, where we get to take that, layer over the information that we get to find on it with some ground truth to it, and say, okay, this is what we heard. This is kind of what we're thinking. Here's some preliminary ideas. And it closes with, at the end of the project, with your vetted adjudication and support and approval. This is kind of where the community is headed once we have that plan kind of set up. Next slide. So ramping up participation. So we've covered a lot of that technical stuff, the GIS, the data collection, as well as the asset management piece. Community engagement, as much as of an art as it is a science. The IAP2 International Association of, I'm losing it, Public Participation, they've developed that science piece. It is not innovative by any stretch of the imagination, but it is effective. So once we get people in the door, we kind of start sifting through all of those different people that we have a chance to interact with, because you're really going to get 3 flavors of individuals. So you're going to get one flavor of folks who kind of just want to get something off their chest, and we want to hear that too. You're going to get folks who are somewhere in between, who they're going to be repeat attendees and probably going to come to the second event. And you're also going to get the 3rd flavor, which we particularly love, which is folks who have put a lot of forethought, who have been in this community for a very long time, and they want to stay in for the long haul. And we don't just want to hear those voices, we want to empower those voices, which is the last and most important part of this spectrum of public participation. Next slide, please. So that leads us to establishing a Citizens Advisory Council. So there are plenty of successful examples of Citizens Advisory Councils throughout the country. You have few, if you don't know, actually at our doorstep. Denver Water, Aurora Housing, Colorado Springs Police Department, they all have Citizens Advisory Councils. So there's a lot of success that we can use to build off of. A lot has changed, as you all well know, since this building was built in the late 90s. I've actually seen this community grow since 1999, so I've been a part of it. It's been a lot of fun actually to see all these housing communities grow up. What you get by building a Citizens Advisory Council and some of the success and goodness that comes out of it is it does two things. One, for the community, it gives them an opportunity to live your core value of inspiring well-being through involvement. They get to be a part of that process. But for you specifically, what you get is instead of just those snapshots that we saw in 2009, 10, 16, 18, and what you'll see from this, you kind of get a steady and manageable stream of feedback, insights, information, and ideas that you can funnel into and feed into future decisions that live well beyond just the project that we're about to execute. So that's kind of the goodness that you get out of this process. You'll see in the photo up on the top left, we Matrix do this at a very massive scale, and we do it at a very small scale. That's the Virginia Military Advisory Council, which we helped build and sustain for almost 5 years now, and has representation from every installation commander across the entire Commonwealth of Virginia at every single installation, as well as secretaries and the governor. So we can do it very big, we can do it very small. This was actually, we kept it alive during COVID, which was a nice success for us, so we've worked through a lot of challenges. But it's nice to be able to actually do it in a place that we all call home, except for Chris, he had to drive down from Denver. But the rest of us, we
Still Colorado.
yeah, he's still Colorado. So yeah, we really look forward to this process, and we look forward to getting out the community, representing you, and getting their feedback. And with that, I'll turn it over to Andrea.
Yeah, so I would just talk about a whole bunch of stuff we are currently doing, and these are kind of our next steps. So the improvement recommendations after we gather all of this data, what do we do with it? You know, what are the recommendations moving forward? Again, how much is it gonna cost? What's the timeline, the schedule for all of that? To help you guys prioritize, you know, asset management, making decisions, and then we move forward with, as Jason says, the fun stuff, creating the concept plans of future improvements. With that, we'll open it up to questions.
Hopefully that wasn't too long.
Well under 75 minutes. Our goal.
I don't think I have any questions, did you?
It's exciting.
Yeah, we think so too.
We're really excited.
I don't either.
What was that? Did Stacy say that?
What?
She said no.
I said, no, I don't know anything.
But it's been great. We're looking forward to this. The project itself will expand till the end of May next year, I think is what tentatively, if everything hits right. So it should be for your entirety of while you're here. So you guys, there'll be time where you guys will get the participation in this. Look forward to hearing your voices as well.
Exciting, life change.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Item 11 is the water report.
Preference,
So
board,
you guys are free.
do you have any questions of the report that was submitted?
Looks good. I love to know fire hydrants run over, just getting worried.
Is there like a days since like count going?
We should do that.
Days since last incident.
There's two things I want to address out of this report, just for clarity, because it does affect our customers who run businesses in our community. There was an HB bill of 24-1344. It's talking about the backflows. So on that, those few pages that were added was a last minute adjustment or change was to that bill prior before it was signed into law. And that's when all the bottoms fell out for anyone that had a business to test backflows. Like in our facilities here, we have backflows that needs to be tested by a certified technician, and so that we can meet the state requirements for the backflow control and cross connection programs. With that wrench that was thrown in there, anyone that had that certification, but they were not a licensed plumber, well, essentially they had to cease and desist from business. So that bill is being revised, it's gonna be put on hold. And so the customers that we have in here right now, that we're gonna encourage them to get their backflows tested and all that, and that the provision would be made so that the customers don't feel like they're gonna be raked over the coals with a licensed plumber, which there is some instances, it has happened when this bill went into effect. And it was very disastrous from some of these ones that had to comply. So that's just a note on that. The final outcome of everything, that it would be a two-part, it would be sometime in January and before August 1st or April 1st of 2025, when they get all the rest of the revisions worked out. And I'm gonna be on that board, participating to see what would come of that, not actually the board members, but be one of the work groups. And that's pretty much the nutshell of that. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the wastewater report.
Best for last.
Of course.
So the only change I got on mine, after almost 3 years, the headwork project is finally complete. We got the heater wired up and fired up yesterday, so we're finally done with that. The Grandview gravity line easements and the force mains, so John, I think we're wrapped up with the stuff on there. So Wayne wrapped up, we actually have 3 different documents for homeowners. So there's one for, because some people are gonna get a sewer tap, or we have a couple of people who negotiated to get like an 8-inch manhole and stub for future development. Some are getting financial compensation for the easement, and some, the primary easement is there, we just need a temporary construction easement.
Okay.
So instead of trying to change the language for 18 different property owners, we just have 3 different documents, we just choose whichever one we need to.
Cool.
So there's only one property owner we're still trying to negotiate with yet. And unfortunately, that's the biggest property owner we need, and it goes right past his pool, so. That would be a little tricky, but except for him, we're almost there. And then, I think you just got the stuff, was it yesterday or today? So you guys did a inclusion for Owl Place for the new storage area. We can leave it to the county. They own 3 pieces of the property, and they included 2 of them, but in order to pass all the stuff through the county, they're requiring to also include the property on the, would be south side of the road. So they just put everything in yesterday or today to start the inclusion for that, so we'll see that next month. Any questions?
No, sounds good.
Thank you.
Item 13, executive session for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations under CRS 246402-4E, namely Grandview Inclusion and Water Operations Agreement and District Engineering Services. Can I get a motion to enter executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Second? I'll second.
I was like, oh, you just said that. I'll second. Jeez.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
We are in executive session.